I never expected my life as a frontier medic to involve dismantling military-grade exosuits or prying secrets from the quiet heart of a battle-hardened soldier. My assignments on the outpost moons were always simple: patch up scrappers, miners, and the occasional drunk from the spaceport. War felt distant, echoing across the star systems like thunderstorms on another world. We heard about the outer conflicts, but here on Severn 3, life was dull and predictable. So when the distress signal flashed across my clinic screen that night, I didn't know I was opening the door to a turning point in my life, or perhaps in the entire war. The storm outside had been raging for hours, dust and ionized sand slashing across the settlement's shield dome. Visibility from the windows was nearly zero. The signal blared again. Priority level Crimson military code. My heart jumped. Crimson was for battlefield casualties. No battlefield was anywhere near us. Before I could even grab my medical scanner, something slammed into the clinic door. Metal screeched. I instinctively ducked, then approached cautiously and opened the heavy blast panel. A figure collapsed onto the floor. Tall, armored, and sparking with flickers of dying energy. The exosuit was unlike any civilian model I'd ever seen. Dark plates brushed with iridescent sheen, like starlight trapped under steel. Blood pooled beneath her. Not oil. Blood. Help! A voice rasped through the helmet speaker. Weak but urgent. My training took over. Door seal. Commanded. The clinic locked down. The storm roared outside as though furious to be shut out. I kneeled beside the armored stranger. You've puncture wounds, internal bleeding, possible suit infection. I need to remove your armor. No, she croaked, hand clamping on my wrist with surprising strength. If you take it off before the core shuts down. Location compromised. They'll find me. Who? Gasped. But her head slumped before she could answer. Even unconscious, she trembled. I could see the damage spreading. Nanofiber mesh unraveling, artificial muscles twitching. If I didn't act soon, she'd die. I'd never handled a suit like this. It wasn't just armor, it was life support, weapon system, neural interface. Removing it was like surgery on a machine and a person simultaneously. I activated my auto-scanner and prayed it could handle what came next. Hours blurred. I worked through failing systems, peeling back plates, disconnecting neural jacks, each step risking triggering weapons protocols or neural shock. The suit's synthetic tissue parted to expose flesh beneath. When I finally eased off the helmet, I found not a hardened war veteran but a young woman, barely older than my sister. Silver hair matted to her skin, face pale as moonlight, streaks of blood tracing delicate cheekbones. Not frightening. Vulnerable. She gasped, convulsed, and I held her still until the seizure passed. My clinic smelled of ozone and blood, an uneasy marriage of war and medicine. She whispered something, soft, broken, and I leaned close. They weren't supposed to follow. They took everyone. Unit K-14. Gone. Her fingers clenched the air as if reaching for ghosts. I treated her through the night. Repaired torn tissue. Stabilized her lungs. Sutured microlacerations the armor had sealed but not fully healed. When I finished, exhaustion hit me like gravity reasserting itself after a long drift. When she woke again, the storm had passed and morning light crept over Severn 3. But she didn't move immediately. She just stared at the ceiling, confusion in her expression. Then her violet eyes, unnaturally vivid, locked onto mine. You removed the suit, she whispered. You'd have died, I replied. I'm Dr. Elon Reeves. She sat up slowly, wincing. Seraphine. Lieutenant Seraphine Vale. She scanned the room, noticing the dismantled armor stacked on the bench. For a second, fear flickered across her face. My suit's core, is it intact? Contained and stable, I answered. I isolated its locator. They won't find you. Her relief was brief, like someone not used to trusting relief. What happened? Asked gently. She hesitated, jaw tight. I'd seen trauma before. Miners sealed in collapsed tunnels, scavengers lost in vacuum. But hers ran deeper, shaped by something relentless. Something that didn't stop at killing. My squad was testing prototype infiltration armor near the outer fringe. Ambushed. Not rebels, not pirates, something else. Her eyes went distant. They moved like shadows. Voices that weren't voices. And when they touched the suit, it screamed. It shivered. Armor didn't scream, unless neural interfaces picked up signals far beyond physical pain. I thought she was hallucinating, delirious. But another part of me remembered transmissions from military channels. Cryptic warnings of incursions beyond known worlds. Rumors of non-human forces. She looked at me again, searching my face for disbelief. I didn't speak. Sometimes silence is the best answer a person can give. I shouldn't be alive, she murmured. They took the others. Not just killed, took. A chill crawled up my spine. Days passed. Seraphine recovered, slowly regaining strength. She moved with a soldier's discipline even in injury. Calculating, poised. But moments came when the armorless version of her emerged. A person who watched sunsets through the clinic window as if they were unfamiliar. Who asked simple questions about the town, who smiled, hesitantly, at jokes. I had anticipated repairing flesh and machinery, not peeling away years of solitude encased in metal. One evening, as I adjusted her bandages, she flinched, not from pain but emotional reflex. You treat me like I'm human, she whispered. Paused, meeting her gaze. You are. Her eyes softened in a way that hurt to witness, the pain of someone who didn't expect gentleness. War had stripped her down to survival instinct, mission logic, and fear. Removing her armor hadn't just exposed injury, it had revealed the person buried beneath. But peace never lasts on frontier moons. The scanners chimed. Unidentified energy signatures, far from any known craft. And then the lights flickered. Seraphine stood instantly, weakness forgotten. They found me. I ran to the view window. 3 dark forms breached the shield perimeter, moving like living shadows, shimmering between physical and not. Fear clawed my chest. You need to run, she urged. I'm not leaving you, I said. It came out without thought. Instinct formed through shared nights and shared silence. She looked torn, as if my loyalty shook her more than the incoming threat. I don't want to go back to being just a weapon, she breathed. You made me feel like more. Her armor core pulsed from the containment unit, alive, calling her. She stared at it, at me, at the advancing shapes outside. I can't put it back on, she whispered. If I do, the person you helped me find, she disappears. But if you don't, they'll take you, I replied. Her trembling hand closed around mine. Then maybe fight with me. Not for orders, for who I want to be. My heart pounded. I was a medic, not a soldier. But as the clinic walls shook from the first impact, I realized the choice was already made. We sealed the room, activated emergency shields, and I grabbed the only thing resembling a weapon, an old plasma cutter. Battle came. Surreal, silent, except for energy hum and our breaths. Seraphine moved with precision, training melded with raw human instinct rather than armor-dictated patterns. I covered her when I could, fumbling, terrified, but present. We survived. Barely. The shadows retreated, fading into the dawn like nightmares dissolving with sunlight. When it was over, I collapsed beside her, lungs burning. "You did it," I whispered. "We did." She leaned her forehead to mine, exhausted but alive, truly alive. "The military will arrive eventually. For the suit, for her, maybe for me. But today, she rests here, armor dismantled, identity rebuilt one breath at a time. I know the war will come for us again. But now I understand. Treating her wounds wasn't what saved her. Removing her armor did. And maybe, just maybe, it saved something in me too.